Welcome to episode 504. Jim Pattison, from used car salesman and college dropout to owning more than 200 companies worldwide. This is an outline of episode 504. There are 3 reasons we study Jim Pattison. First, he's one of the richest self-made billionaire in Canada. Second, he dropped out of college to pursue his business dream. Third, at age 90, he's still working hard 7 days a week. Let us meet Jim Pattison.
My mother and dad had a strong influence on me. They were very solid people. We didn't have a lot of money, but that never mattered. I couldn't have had better parents than I had. So they drove all the things that were good values into my head. So my background basically was a used car salesman, and I liked it. And I did that. In fact, I worked my way as far as I went in school by buying and selling used cars at UBC. I gained confidence going to university at UBC. No question, it affected my life positively. My top 3 pieces of advice that I've found work for me is number 1, work hard. Number 2 is always be honest. And number 3, treat people like you'd like to be treated, no matter what circumstances you're in. My advice to young people is get as much education as you possibly can, because it's easy to carry around once you got it.
He was born in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan in 1928.
His name is Jim Pattison, and that about says it all. Born into a family which included a car-dealing father, Jim's natural salesmanship started to show when he was still at John Oliver High School. His years of selling cars and his rise to the top of the corporate and political world is legendary, as is his leadership during the Expo years. And right from the beginning, Jim Pattison seemed to know exactly what he wanted to do.
My ambition was to sell cars, and that's what I did. Times of my life I worked for Bo McLean or Bo Mac for 10 years. And it was one of the great experiences of my life. Cars, it was after the war when cars were getting bigger and flashier, and the Cadillacs had the big fins, and I was fortunate enough to be with a guy by the name of Dan McLean, who was a tough guy to work for, but I liked him, and he gave me my head and let me run, and it was a great experience in my life.
While attending UBC, he paid his tuition by washing cars at a used car lot and selling cars to fellow students. Eventually, Jim's success selling cars led to the formation of the Jim Pattison Group in 1961.
This is the picture of his first car dealership, which he bought for $40,000, a loan from the Royal Bank of Canada. This is the picture of his empire today, 45,000 employees, more than $10 billion of sales, 200 companies all over the world. Well, car dealerships and food packaging are boring, but Guinness Book of Records, Ripley's, believe it or not, are not. Ripley employs more than 10,000 people and has sales of over $4 billion a year. His most famous legacy, the Vancouver World Expo, 1986 to 1991. He volunteered and worked free for 5 years.
Why was it important to you that China be there, especially even then?
We had to have China, we had to have Russia, and we needed Cuba. Because you remember the curtain was up, the Iron Curtain, and everybody was interested in communism. And here we are putting on a World's Fair. We had to get the communists there. And who were the communists? They were Cuba, they were Russia, and they were China. And of course we had to get the Americans there, actually, which was one of the hardest things we did, was get the Americans there, actually.
Another turning point for you must have been Expo 86.
It certainly was for me personally.
Yes.
It wasn't for the company, because the company carried on doing what they were doing. But it certainly gave me a new change of life. And we budgeted everything around 13,750,000 people coming, and when you finally click 22 million, it's a pretty good feeling.
On why at age 90 he still works 7 days a week.
And you still come in here, you still run the shop. What drives you?
Well, I like going to work. I haven't found anything I like better than going to work. So I go to work. And
what have I learned today? 2 things. First, Jim Patterson is one of the oldest and richest self-made billionaire in Canada. Second, he also leads Canada in charity, having volunteered to work 5 years free for the Vancouver Expo in his late 50s. Thank you for watching. I have written an e-book on Canada's self-made billionaires. If you are interested, please write drpaulchan@gmail.com and I will email you the e-book free. My next video will be Jim Pattison, 10 Lessons. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.